for hearts transformed in our city here in Portland. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our first speaker, Mr. John Castles. And he and his wife played a major role in the last season of service. He's intimately familiar with that endeavor. And as you well know, him being a part of the Murdoch Trust, that organization has been active in funding and helping transformational efforts for Christ occur in our community. So without any further ado, John, would you come up here and speak to us?
Thank you, Larry, and a warm welcome to everybody. Stuart Funke calls this the I Have a Dream speech. Somebody else said they want me to cast the vision. I'm much more accustomed to casting a fly rod than vision casting, but I'll give it my best shot. In my brief comments today, I want to give you a sense of the evolution of my personal passion for stewardship and for the confluence of recent events that have helped to sharpen my passion. I truly believe we're at a tipping point, a unique point in time, when we're at the forefront of a movement which we call generous giving or generous community that can really transform our community and have eternal consequences for our families, for our friends, for our neighbors, and indeed for the entire public. Focus on the family defines healthy communities by describing the health of its families. They talk about broken families, they talk about healthy families, and they talk about thriving families. They define thriving families as those that are really engaged in their church, but also engaged in the outreach to their communities. And the Search Institute has identified 40 developmental assets or building blocks of healthy development known as development assets that help young people grow up healthy, caring, and responsible. In other words, healthy communities are dependent upon healthy youth and healthy families. We'd like to add another dimension to that. It relates to the season of service. It relates to an opportunity to really stimulate people, help them better understand their roles and responsibilities in our community, help educate them with stewardship opportunities, and really stimulate giving in our community. I've always been a charitable giver, personally. I learned that from my father, my earthly father, who learned it from his father. I came to my personal faith in Jesus Christ in my late 30s, and was quickly convicted that believers should submit all their assets and worldly possessions under the lordship of our Jesus Christ. I sensed a spiritual gift for biblical stewardship and have sought to praise its virtues and teach its principles ever since. I've been involved for over 10 years in the leadership of our church. I've served as elder of stewardship, president of our church, and I've chaired one of many capital campaigns as well. Approximately 4 years ago, Jim Basinius and Steve Atkinson and I attended a Generous Giving National Conference. The three of us helped bring a regional Generous Giving Conference to Skamania Lodge in the fall of 2006. Possibly some of you were there. We said, wouldn't it be great if we could help catalyze a generous community in Portland using the principles of biblical stewardship? And with the help of the staff of NCCF, we held some follow-on meetings at the Mac Club to further pursue the concept. 3 years ago, I approached the senior pastoral team at my church with the idea of adding a minister of stewardship to our pastoral team. The idea came to me because of what I had learned at the Murdoch Trust with respect to building the capacity of nonprofit organizations and providing grants to hire development directors. We sometimes look at an arbitrary threshold figure of about $500,000 for the operating budget of a nonprofit organization. And at that level, they're typically ready to hire a full-time development director. Well, why not do that for churches? Now, we won't call it a development director, we'll call it a minister of stewardship. But it certainly could help build the capacity of the church. Last year, my wife and I, as Larry mentioned, agreed to co-chair the fundraising team for the Luis Palau City Fest and the Season of Service. activities. Some of you, in fact, were on that team with us. The City Fest became the largest public gathering in the history of Portland at Waterfront Park. And almost 30,000 volunteers have participated in various season and service community activities. Furthermore, we wanted to create an infrastructure for the activities to continue well into future years. The City Fest and Season of Service came about because of a unique partnership between businesses, churches, government, and ministry leaders in the greater Portland metropolitan area. When you think about it, this collaboration is really remarkable, and I dare say revolutionary. Last year, Stuart Funke and I had some conversations about biblical stewardship and the concept of building a generous community. And at that time I met Judah Music, and we discovered that there were many others, some of you as well, interested in the same concept. So we'd like to invite you and others to join us as we dream about how we might collectively go about building a generous community in our own communities, right across the Portland metropolitan area. Unlike the American economy, God's economy is extremely healthy and strong. We want to dream about mobilizing and equipping thousands of people in our community with the resources and tools to become generous givers and to truly transform our community. It's churches, ministries, nonprofits, people, for eternity in a way that really, truly honors Christ and brings glory to Him. Are you ready to join a revolution? Thank you.